was beginning to drift away from where it was supposed to belong. I tried to forget her after that night of texting. Things slowly began to change, not in a loud way. Nothing obvious happened, but inside my mind, something started shifting. I realized I was thinking about her more and more, and that made me feel guilty. I already had a girlfriend, a good girlfriend, a woman who had been with me for 3 years, a woman who was about to become my wife. I couldn't allow myself to slip into a dangerous feeling like this, so I decided to do something. I tried to forget her. I threw myself into work. I started working more, staying late at the office, taking on extra tasks, reading more documents, joining more projects. I thought if my mind stayed busy, I wouldn't have to meet or think about anything else. But sometimes in the middle of the night while working, I would suddenly stop and ask myself, I wonder what she's doing right now. Maybe she's reading a book, maybe she's writing, or maybe she's sleeping. Just a small thought like that was enough to make me lose focus for a few minutes. I spent more time with my girlfriend to reduce the guilt. I started spending more time with my girlfriend. I asked her out more often, going to the movies, going out for dinner, walking around the city. I bought her gifts, small gifts without any special occasion. I wanted to create as many happy moments as possible. I thought if I did that, I would remember why I fell in love with her, why we had stayed together for 3 years. Our dinners together were still pleasant. She still laughed a lot, still told those innocent stories that I used to love hearing. Looking at her like that, I felt even more guilty. The dangerous moments of free time, but there was one thing she couldn't control. Whenever I had a little free time, I would pick up my phone, open social media, and unconsciously, I would end up on her profile. The first time I did that, I told myself, just a quick look, but then I started reading her posts. She writes very well, not with complicated words, just very honest. Her thoughts about life, her observations about society, sometimes small stories about her daughter. There was one post where she talked about cooking with her daughter. A very simple story, but after reading it, I found myself smiling. I didn't even know why. I started caring about her life. Then I began noticing photos she posted. Nothing heavily edited, just everyday moments. A photo of a cup of coffee, a corner of her workspace, a rainy afternoon, a picture of her daughter. Very small things, but every time I saw them, I felt like I understood her a little more. That's when I realized a hard truth. I was becoming curious about her life, not just about work, but about her personal life too. A conversation during a break one day. During a break at work, we sat down and talked, just random small talk. Suddenly, I asked her a question that Terry found a little funny myself. I asked, what do you think about men dating older women? She looked at me, her eyes were a bit playful. Then she squinted and smiled. She said, you mean, like the red boy? I laughed. She laughed too. The atmosphere was very relaxed, but in my mind a sudden thought appeared. If one day, I really fell in love with her, would I look like Red Boy in everyone else's eyes? Thoughts that confuse me. I'm not the kind of man who needs a woman to take care of him. I have a job. I earn my own income. I have a stable life. I never imagined Eddie would fall into a situation like this. But every time I thought about her, I felt a very strange emotion. Part amusing, part exciting, like my life suddenly had something unexpected in it. Whenever I thought about her, I felt relaxed, very light. But the moment I returned to reality, that feeling instantly turned into guilt. I realized I had gone too far one night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and I began thinking seriously. I asked myself one question. What am I doing? I have a girlfriend, a 3-year relationship, a wedding waiting ahead. So why is my mind being pulled toward another woman? A woman that logically, I should keep my distance from. I finally understood something. I was no longer standing at the starting line. I had already drifted very far. So far, that even didn't know anymore where I would stop. And now, I'm standing in front of a very difficult choice. A choice that could destroy my life. If I confess my real feelings, I might lose everything. But if I keep staying silent, will my marriage still have any meaning? If you were in my place, would you stop here or take one more step? Comment honestly, because part 5, the final part, is the question that kept me awake for many nights.